Gigabit Internet issa f'Malta. Gawdi mill-Giga Power biss mal-Melita Flexi.
This car is fast, reactive, and easy to find the limit.
The car is really fantastic and really fast.
Very, very fast car compared also to the other single-seater.
Between the Formula series, that's the best one. It's amazing how many torques you can have with a solid engine.
A lot of fun, and I enjoy a lot this day.
I think it's a car that you need to try because I'm so happy for this day with your car. Fantastic.
So, welcome to all followers that we have on Facebook this evening. We have a special event going on today. World Pro Racing collaboration with Griiip, the G1 series. We have some virtual race with a difference, where we have the real drivers from the Griiip G1 series today taking it up on a virtual machine on this race here in Assetto Corsa at Vallelunga. It's important that you follow us till the end, because something very interesting is that this championship of today, the virtual championship, virtual race, will also count for the real championship of the G1 series that is held in Italy. Together with us to commentate today is Joshua Penny. On to you, Joshua, now to commentate this great race. Don't forget, we'll be starting now in approximately 1 minute the first qualification of today.
So, as you said, welcome one and all on YouTube, Facebook and Twitch to this round of the Griiip Championship. That's Griiip with 3 eyes. We're at the Vallelunga Classic Circuit with the fantastic Griiip G1 car. This car, of course, with 201 horsepower, a V4 engine, inline 6. Not inline 6, 6 sequential gearbox, sorry, there you go, 6-speed sequential gearbox, and we have 6 drivers as well here to blast around this Vallelunga circuit. It's got bank corners, it's got fast corners, it's got slower corners, and this slicks and wings shodden car is going to be a fantastic spectacle around this circuit. So don't go anywhere rather. We've got 2 races coming up for you today, following 2 qualifying sessions. All of those sessions will be 10 minutes, meaning there's not much time for things to not much time in the sessions, and that means that the drivers will have to push all of the time to gain position and to fight through the order. So we're just waiting now for the start of the first qualifying session, which will be in just a couple of minutes. We might as well have another commentator in later on as well, but that's all down to technical issues and things like that. So we'll see if we can get that sorted in time. If not, it will be me, Joshua Penny, talking you through today's action, 2 qualifying sessions and 2 races, and also World Pro Racing, who Griiip is collaborating with today, who are going to be running this event, doing the technical side of things, and also providing you with this stream. So we hope you enjoy it. Sit back and relax. Use whatever social media site you prefer out of YouTube, Facebook or Twitch. and watch this 10-minute qualifying session that has just begun here at Vallelunga.
Yeah, that's very right. It's good to remind our followers today, Joshua, that even this, the races of today, the points that the drivers will gain, they will be part of their championship that they do in Italy. So definitely an important race for these drivers. And as you said, it's a race with a difference where we have a virtual race with the real drivers of the great Griiip Formula car. It's definitely a good starter as a Formula car for people to try. Anybody that is following us can also go onto their website, which is www.griip, which is griip.com, and even have a look at what they have, because they also have test drives of this fantastic car going on in Italy. And also something very interesting, now the registrations for the 2019 Italian Gen 1 series are open, so people can go to their website and have a look there also.
Yeah, fantastic. It does look like a very good car to drive, and also quite good for its money as well. Of course, one of the big problems with racing is that it's very expensive to get into, but the Griiip G1 car seems to be one of the best options for people with limited funds. So definitely one to look into, I'm sure, and to be honest, I would absolutely love to have a go in one of these cars. So far in this qualifying session, the first lap has just been put in there by Miguel Matos. That was just an out lap, so he is now on his first flying lap, and we will be able to see the Vallelunga circuit in action. He's just heading down to the first braking zone. This is Chimney. Chimneys 1 and 2 are those two apexes that you see there, and then you head down the back straight towards a couple of quick flicks and then some tight chicanes. Here's a right-hander followed by a left-hander. That's a corner that always catches people out as you slide sideways around there. Now braking down towards Semaforo on the full-length circuit. This would be turn 11. We're using the classic version of the circuit today. This is Torrentino, a left-hand hairpin, a more traditional hairpin. Semaforo very wide, very much like Luffield. It takes a while to get on the power, and your foot is just itching to go when it really shouldn't, whereas Torrentino, a more traditional hairpin. And here is another of those longer ones. This is more like a parabolica, the final corner here at Roma, which catapults you onto another lap. And let's see what Miguel Matos puts in here. It's a 1:11.408. Now, the fastest times we've seen in these cars at this circuit so far have been in the 1:09s, and they were set by Bernard Vella, who was in the practice sessions the other day, but is not here today. And now to the top of the order has gone Marco Dimo. So Marco Dimo goes to the top, just 0.003 ahead of Massimo Paganini in second position. So at the minute it's Dimo, Paganini, Matos and Santos, and those are the 4 drivers who have set laps so far. We're still waiting for Jaron Stern and Grippo. Grippo, of course, a pseudonym driver who has not quite exited the pits yet. Fastest first sector of anyone there for Dimo. So Dimo on another quick lap. He's just coming through the hairpin sector at the minute, heading up towards Torrentino. Very easy to get it wrong here and go wide on the exit. He's actually slightly missed the apex there, which won't affect him too badly. Here are the S's. And then he's got one more corner to go. You see another car in the distance, too far ahead to provide a tow, I'm sure, as they go onto the start-finish straight. And that lap from Marco Dimo is going to be set and posted at a 1:10.885. So the first driver of the day to get into the 1:10s here. Just 0.363 is the gap now between Dimo and Paganini for pole. That's a big margin so far, especially at the track that only takes 1 minute and 10 seconds. That is a big margin there. But Jaron Stern is about to put in his first flying lap here. So Stern coming through the S's and towards the final corner. And we know that Stern was one of the quickest drivers in the practice sessions we did the other day. So let's see what he's capable of here as he exits Roma and blasts down the final straight. I estimate this to be about 1/10 off the leader. Oh, there we go. Yeah, it was exactly that, basically. Well, rounds up to 2/10. So Stern second now, 0.178 behind Dimo. and it's a 1:11.063 at this point in time as we pass the halfway point in the qualifying session. So we're past the halfway point, 5 minutes remaining, and not much opportunity for drivers to improve. Massimo Paganini there sets the fastest third sector of anyone, but does not manage to jump up the order. It's a 1:11.127 in terms of his overall lap, which puts him third, but I'm afraid that's about as good as he could have done on that lap. Yaron Stern in the third sector now, slightly improving on his lap, and this might be an attack for pole here if he can just pull something out in the final sector. We'll see what he's capable of here. And at this point, it's a good time to introduce the second commentator who's going to be joining us today, and giving me someone to bounce off, I'm sure, throughout the course of today's proceedings. Alex Skinner. Hi, Alex.
Hello everyone, and it's actually a pleasure to be here, and sorry for my fashionably late attendance. I was having a couple of issues that we've now sorted out, so great to be able to get everything sorted and be here just in time for the first race.
Yeah, I'm sure that's fine. We're just watching qualifying at the minute. I was talking about Yaron Stern's lap. That's just been put in and it wasn't quicker. Oh, and as I speak, Yaron's having a bit of an accident there. He just bounced over the exit curb and spun it around into the barrier, but gets it running again, and if there's not too much damage, he will possibly go for another lap, but I can't imagine that set of tyres will be very happy at this point in time. But yeah, Alex, you were talking earlier about how much you liked the look and the sound of this car. It's a good one, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. It's very, as you were saying on the broadcast earlier, you were saying how it's such a very good car for people who don't have much funds to get into. It very much reminds me myself of the old Formula, I think it was Formula 1000 cars, and you said Formula 3000, so one of us is going to be right surely on the numbering of the series, but it very much reminds me of those cars from back in the day and how old they are. I don't know if they actually still exist, but they very much did back in the olden days. Drove back on Token Race Driver 3 actually.
Oh yeah.
That was very beautiful little car, and then, you know, obviously here at reminding you of that, and then driving here at the classic Vallelunga circuit, which is very much a circuit very close to my heart, and one I very much have enjoyed for the past, well, God knows how many years of me driving this circuit. But such a beautiful car. Not even it may look slow, but it's very, very fast, especially, and for the package you get, as you said, the V4 engine with 201 horsepower. You know, it's a very, very quick piece of kit. Very much would give a lot of people some very good thrills and spills, and can't wait to see how these guys are going to handle it around the pristinely beautiful Vallelunga circuit.
Yeah, I like it when a car can feel retro and futuristic at the same time, and I think this car captures that very, very well. And a driver who's also capturing the car itself is Marco Dimo, who's just set the fastest second sector of anyone there, and is going 2/10 up on his lap so far. It's already at the top of the times, and now he's about to post an even quicker one here to set the benchmark for the day. Slight twitch through the final corner, that's going to cost him about 1/10 of a second, but not really that much as he crosses the line, and it's a 1:10.682. That's a dominant performance so far from Marco Dimo. Obviously looking like the quickest driver at the minute, and running away with it. Just 0.381 now separating him from Yaron Stern behind him. That's a bit of a margin to track this short. So at the minute, Dimo's got it, but still a minute left in the session for things to change. Who can post a last-minute flyer?
Just looking at Miguel Matos, his sector's looking very good. He's going to come around the final corner, come across the start-finish line, and what's it going to do? It's going to drop to 6/10 off the pace, so he's closing right up. Can he set this final lap? I'm going to be keeping an eye on him to see what he can do. Very much a circuit that you need to get everything correct. You can't afford to lose the momentum, because if you lose the momentum, you're going to lose a lot of time. And as you said, Dimo currently on pole, and Miguel Matos all over the sausage curb. That's not where you want to be. You don't want to be out there. You'll be going down the wrong layout if you're not too careful. So that'll be his day, or his lap done and dusted. Won't improve on that lap at all.
Yeah, in fact, the only driver I think who could improve on the lap here is Massimo Paganini, minute. Ooh, who gets a big slide out of Torrentino, so he's not going to be improving there. But can anyone go on to another lap and start? Yes, Yaron Stern. So Yaron Stern has just managed to get onto a final flying lap as the checkered flag comes out. It's all down to Yaron Stern now. He's the last driver on the circuit on a lap. He's just exiting the chimney corners. He's about a tenth down on his lap at this point in time, so I doubt it'll be on for pole. But can he improve on his lap nonetheless? He's just going through the middle sector. The sweepers running it a little bit wide, actually over the white line there, and losing another chunk of time from his lap. So I don't think this is going to be quicker. He's still pushing, but he's 4 tenths down now. So this is pretty much it now for the session. Marco Dimo is on pole position, followed by Yaron Stern, then Massimo Paganini, Miguel Santos, and Michael Santos. Those are the 5 drivers we have here today. And don't let the small grid put you off, because I've seen some fantastic Assetto Corsa races with small grids before. One of the best races I commentated on actually only had, I think it was 6 drivers, and that was a DTM race. So today with 5, we could still be in for a cracker. Let's wait and see. So qualifying is definitely over now. The order was indeed Dimo, Stern, Paganini, Matos, Santos, and that's the lot. We're just waiting for the start of the race, which will take place in just under 2 minutes now.
Yeah, and as you were saying about the smaller grid, and you were saying don't let it put you off. I've seen plenty of good races with very few drivers indeed, and it's very much a case of, it's not a case of the quantity of the drivers, but the quality.
So we're going to go for a short commercial break, and we'll be back with the race very soon.
Gigabit Internet issa f'Malta. Gawdi mill-Giga Power biss mal-Melita Flexi.
This car is fast, reactive, and easy to find the limit.
The car is really fantastic and really fast.
Very, very fast car compared also to the other single-seater.
Between the Formula series, that's the best one. It's amazing how many torques you can have with a solid engine.
A lot of fun, and I enjoy a lot this day.
I think it's a car that you need to try, because I'm so happy for this day with your car. Fantastic.
So we're back. We're just a minute, 5 seconds away from the start of the first race today here at this virtual race from the G1 series, where we have the real drivers from the series having a battling out here at Vallelunga on this virtual race on Assetto Corsa. Something interesting that we would like to say also that very soon we're going to launch the full details of the Griiip G1 series, the virtual series we're going to have here at World Pro Racing together with Griiip themselves. So on to you, Joshua and Alex, now to commentate this first race of today.
So that's fantastic. We've got 30 seconds now until the start of the race. Again, I should actually point out that Marcadimo, who took pole there, is not known as Marcadimo, but actually Davide Dallara. So it's going to be Davide Dallara on pole, followed by Stern, Paganini, Matos and Santos. Watch for the lights. There are 6 lights in Assetto Corsa, and when they go out, the race will be underway. Let's watch them light up. Here they come. We've got 3, 4, 5 and 6. And when they go, we're off! Away we go! The race has begun, and away in front goes Davide Dallara. He's got a good start there and does get away in the lead, as behind him scrapping are Matos, and actually that's Paganini there, up into second place ahead of Jaron Stern. So Stern's had a bad start, and he's under attack from Michael Santos. Santos going to the outside, darting to the inside now. Oh, and wow, big dive, and through and off the road there goes, that was Jaron Stern trying to gain a position back, and ended up leaving his braking too late and going straight on. So it's Dimo followed by Santos, I believe, who's gone from 4th to 2nd on the opening lap. We'll be able to update you on the full order at the end of this first lap of the race. They're in Semaphore now, as trying to get a place back in the background is Paganini. He's gone from 3rd to 5th. And that was a hectic opening couple of corners, as Stern, was that Stern? No, that was no, never mind. Someone locked up there through the Torrentino corner, but they all remain in order as the lead is getting close now. That's Dimo coming under attack from Miguel Santos, who's in the slipstream here out of the corner. And after the first lap, we're being updated on the order. It's Dallara, followed by Matos, rather, Stern, Santos and Paganini. So there we go, that's the end of the first lap, and towards the first braking zone, I don't think anyone's going to be quite close enough. Whoa, what a start that was, Alex.
Yeah, definitely indeed. A lot of action going on in the first braking zone as we see Stern and Santos. Stern getting a bit loose on the rear end coming out of the second apex of the hairpin, and just on his way down through the middle sector, trying to close up on the back of Michael Santos. And as you said, coming through Tarantino, the driver who actually went wide was Mitchell Santos, who went wide, as Matos goes very tight through the hairpin. I'll get my corner names right eventually, Josh. I'm very sorry for disappointing you. Coming through the S's, Stern very much on the back of Miguel Matos, just trying to find his way through. He seems to be very much better on the brakes, but doesn't seem to have it through the middle of the corner and coming out of the corner exit. So he's got to definitely try and make it capitalise down the straights in the slipstream, and then make a very late move on the braking into the first heavy braking zone. Onto the next lap here. 7 minutes and 18 seconds left of this first race, and he's going to go.
Contact.
There's contact.
Oh, goodness gracious, that was Matos there being tipped around by Jaron Stern. Stern running into his rear right wheel, and into the wall went Matos. Surely there's going to be some suspension damage to that car now. They came together, and there's been a move for the lead, as Stern has managed to capitalise and get past Davide Dallara, and he runs into the back of him as well. No, that was Dallara running into the back of Stern. Goodness me. So Stern involved in 2 accidents in the space of a lap. The second one certainly not his fault, but goodness me, Dallara running into the back bin there.
Side by side for the lead with Santos. These guys who were fighting for what was 4th at the point is now fighting for the race lead.
And Santos has got it from 4th to 1st in the space of 2 corners. My word.
So actually there are some moves that we'll be reviewing more in detail after the race, after this first race. Definitely the moves of Stern, and also the second incident that there was, so that will be clear, and we adopt and give the relative penalties after.
Yeah, that was a very clumsy lap there from a number of people, but after that, the order has completely shaken itself up. It's Michael Santos at the front. He started at the back of the grid. Second is Miguel Matos. Then it's Massimo Paganini, Yaron Stern, and Marco Davide De Lara, rather, who started at the front of the grid incidentally. So the field, I think the field has completely swapped. It has. The field has completely swapped from its qualifying order. I've never seen that before.
Also, Paganini on the inside of the S's from Miguel Matos, and Matos into the back of him, locking up into the first of the hairpins. Very, very close between those guys. Thankfully, nothing lost between the two guys. Both remained in the order, remained where they were. But definitely a couple of clumsy moves by a couple of drivers, but which will be reviewed as as the race directors let us know. And God, and the order, as you're saying, Josh, completely switched on its head. Probably a bit different now, but
it's exactly the same, just the other way up.
God, who needs qualifying when you've got a race like this?
Absolutely. Well, Paganini has just got past Matos on that lap, so yeah, it has just switched actually, with Paganini in second and Matos in third. Let's see if anyone can get close down towards the braking zone at Chimney. I think the battle we should still be looking at is Paganini versus Matos rather. But remember that Paganini did qualify ahead of Santos, so now that he's got past Matos and he's got a little bit of clean air, let's see what he can do about getting back at Santos. There's not really much gap on the road between them, so Paganini might well see his opportunity and go on the attack at the minute. But we only have 4 minutes left in this race, so he needs to act quickly. The top three absolutely together. We've got a chain of cars up the front, and who would have predicted the start of this race?
I don't think even the best of pundits could have put a bet on who's going to win this race at this point. I think it all would have been very, very equal indeed. And obviously, as we can now see, that Miguel Santos is just very much coming through the final corner. Going to check their latest lap, see what the gap, if the gap's coming down or going up. Comes across the line. He's going to set a 1 minute 11.7, and it's a 1 minute 11.2 from Paganini. So half a second the gap's come down by in a lap. So 3 minutes and 40. Oh, it's going to be close.
Yeah, well, he's certainly catching here. He's certainly catching Santos, and behind him as well, Matos is there and poised, ready to strike. Yaron Stern also catching. So the top four here doing a bit of an accordion effect and closing up. We might well have a four-way battle for the lead before long. Yeah, as Yaron Stern there puts in the fastest first sector time of anyone. So Stern obviously wanting to get in on this action as well, and we've got a four-way chain for the lead at the minute. So it's all going to kick off in the final 3 minutes here, if it hasn't already kicked off, I suppose. So final 3 minutes of the race, and it's still Santos from Paganini, Matos, Stern, and De Lara. And Paganini is really close to the back of Santos now.
Yeah, that gap has not only come down, but it's visibly come down. You can see him right on the rear end of Santos coming through the final corner. Very much a corner where you've got to make sure you get on the power early enough, but you don't lose the rear end. Got to check the times once again as they come across the line.
It's 3/10, and he's properly in the slipstream now. Paganini is going to have a look here, surely, at getting past Michael Santos towards the chimney braking zone. To the outside he goes. We're side by side for the lead. You can often outbrake your rival and go around the outside here, but he doesn't manage it and has to back out of it for now. So Santos still leads this race from Paganini, but it's still very close. Into the slipstream again. His next braking zone will be at Semaforo as they go through. I think there's a slight lift through here, and a little bit wide goes Santos, but everything's fine. Oh no, never mind. He's locked up. He's taken a bit of an odd line there, as Paganini takes the more aggressive and attacking road. And look also at, contact! Goodness me! Matos came out of nowhere and ran straight into the back of Paganini.
Look at Stern!
And look at Stern, and there's more contact, and off goes Paganini!
Oh, Stern! Clumsy driving by Yaron Stern. It's not what you want to see, especially at this stage of the race, but it happens, it's racing. Definitely be. I can see that being reviewed post-race, but that has given Miguel Santos the biggest set of breathing room as we come into the final I think the final 2 laps of this race, I believe, because 1 minute and 20 to go. They came across the line about 1 minute and 12 lap time, so 2 laps to go.
Paganini is going to be feeling... Yeah, Paganini is going to be feeling quite bullied after that, after getting hit twice in 2 corners. And of course, the stewards will be reviewing that after this race. And I think the question is not going to be who gets penalties, but who doesn't get penalties after this race.
Yeah, definitely.
Actually, that's what I'm thinking about right now. But we'll definitely, we need to go. Obviously, then we do the second race. All results that will be coming out now will be all provisional results until we do our reviews after the races and apply the relative penalties to the drivers. So we need to wait for both races to pass by, and then we see our replays, so that we'll be able to give the relative penalties.
Yeah, so all penalties resolved post-event, and Yaron Stern very much on the back of Miguel Matos. Matos is probably feeling a bit worried now, having seen what's happened to his opponents when Yaron Stern has gotten near him. But doesn't change anything. Stern in the slipstream coming through turn 1. Very non-existent turn 1. Around the outside of turn 2. Is he going to make it? It's very, very tight indeed through the fast left-hander. And he's made it work. He's got to go defensive.
He's got it on the final lap of the race there. That was when he needed to make it work, and he's done it. So Yaron Stern up to 2nd place in the race. Matos down to 3rd, but I don't think that... Yeah, I don't think that anyone is going to catch Michael Santos at this point in time. Let's keep watching the battle for 2nd as Matos comes back at Stern, takes a look to the outside. He's going for the switchback, in fact, but he's not going to find a room through that. And oh wow, big slide there for Matos. So just about saves that, and that is absolutely game over there for Matos. Through the S's we go for the final time of asking. We've got one last corner after this one. And it's the long Roma corner, but it's going to be Michael Santos who exits the final corner now, and no amount of slipstreaming is going to give Yaron Stern a chance. Michael Santos wins it from the back of the grid. Who would have predicted that? Yaron Stern is 2nd, the winning margin 0.627. Miguel Matos crosses the line in 3rd place. Massimo Paganini is 4th after his spin, and Davide Dallara from the very front of the grid from pole position is going to cross the line last position. Goodness me, what an unpredictable, what a dramatic, and what a clumsy race that was, if I have to say that, I'm afraid. Goodness me, 5 cars, and they have finished in an absolutely muddled up order there.
Very, very muddled up indeed, and I think Paganini might have run out of fuel at the end of that there, because he's not moving, but I can't say anything for sure. But he was asking if what the fuel was for this race, so definitely very, very close indeed. But Micha Santos from the back of the grid, as you said, Josh. Holy hell, he's done a very good job to keep the pressure from Yaron Stern off, and then, well, just keep himself out front when everything else went topsy-turvy for everyone else.
There are going to be a lot of very annoyed drivers there. I think the only driver who doesn't have anything to be annoyed about there is Michael Santos, who came through from last to win the race, because everyone else was taking each other off. Yeah, but there's going to be a lot of discussion about that race between drivers. I'm already seeing some of it in the channel. We've got another race coming up soon, so more of that to see. And the stewards are going to be reviewing that after the event. Wow, do we place predictions about race 2 and then watch it all go to pot again?
I think we should, actually. I think it'd be a great idea. It'd be a great little bet we'd have between us.
Oh, golly, yeah. Double victory for Michael Santos, maybe?
Maybe indeed. It could be anyone's game at this point. I dare not place any bets, because it could all be completely wrong, and I could be made a mockery of here.
Ah, well, I must say that was one of the most surprising races that I've ever witnessed. And I did say, didn't I? I said that because we had just 5 drivers on the grid was not going to make this boring. And well, it very much did not make it boring.
Imagine a grid of touring cars here with this. This would be absolutely hilarious.
Oh, no,
10-minute touring car race around Vallelunga with you know a massive grid. Oh, jeez.
Never mind that, but if we had more drivers here today, goodness me.
like turn one might have been a different story, but very, very entertaining indeed. And still got another race to go and another qualifying session.
Oh, brilliant.
So we're going for a short commercial break. We'll be back for some open practice. Then at 6:40 sharp, which is in 9 minutes, we'll start with the second qualifying.
Gigabit Internet issa f'Malta. Gawdi mill-Giga Power biss mal-Melita Flexi.
This car is fast, reactive, and easy to find the limit.
The car is really fantastic and really fast.
Very, very fast car compared also to the other single-seater.
Between the Formula series, that's the best one. It's amazing how many torques you can have with a solid engine.
A lot of fun, and I enjoy a lot this day.
I think it's a car that you need to try because I'm so happy for this day with your car. Fantastic.
So we're back for some little few minutes of practice session for these drivers before we start the second qualifying session. In 6 minutes sharp we start the official and second and last qualifying session, and then on to the last race of 10 minutes.
Fantastic. So after a very unpredictable first race, we're looking forward to a second when we have another qualifying session coming up now, another 10-minute qualifying session to decide the completely irrelevant grid order, obviously, for the start of race 2 here. We're still at the classic version of the Vallelunga circuit in Italy, and joining me for this second race as well is going to be Alex Skinner. Welcome back, Alex.
Yeah, thank you, Josh, and welcome back, everyone watching us live on Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube here for the Griiip series. And let's have a bit of a chat about the series, I think, Josh, because we had a chat with the guys, obviously, who are broadcasting this race. Thank you very much, guys, for having us on having me on first of all, as I was Josh was the planned broadcaster, really allowed me to come along and tag along with him. So very much a pleasure to be here and broadcasting, commentating on this series. But it seems like a really intriguing series, having the the real life races and then mixing it up a bit, having the virtual races on Assetto Corsa.
Yeah, certainly. This is, I think, a one-off event that we're doing, but it does count as part of the overall Griiip Championship, and that's why we have a lot of drivers here who have raced in reality, which is fantastic to see. It's a great concept as sim racing is becoming more and more realistic and more widely used within motorsport. It does make sense to include sim racing as part of a real motorsport series as well, which is. It's an interesting concept. It's one that we haven't seen yet, and it's one that I think we're going to be seeing a lot more as well. And the Griiip series as well, fantastic cars, as we've already said, 201 horsepower, 6-speed sequential gearbox, very light, very grippy, as the title would suggest. Nice wings and slick tires, and the driving as well. We've seen how furious it can be. Just brilliant.
Yeah, and the cars, I gave the car a bit of a spin before we, came onto the server. I actually did a quick little bit of testing before we hopped on, and the car really easy to get used to on Assetto. Actually, really, it seems really nice and just really well balanced. And that's just on the stock setup. God knows what these guys will have done to the setup to get the cars, as quick as they've gotten. But really nice and really grippy. And really nice and stable. Like, you can really feel the limit, and you can really feel where you want to push this car. So, for anyone who does, for anyone who could probably take the knowledge you can have on Assetto and probably take it out into real life. And I also saw that there was an R-Factor 2 variant. So, who knows what could happen in the future there, because we all know the differences between Assetto and R-Factor, and who knows what could happen in the future. I'd love to see something on there.
Well, I might well give this car a test later as well. It's certainly appealing, but anyway, for now we're just a couple of minutes away from the start of the second official qualifying session. Again, 5 drivers with us today, except I've just noticed that the driver known as Griipo is on the track now and doing a couple of practice laps, so I wonder whether he's going to be joining us for the official qualifying session in a minute. That would be interesting if we increase the grid to 6 cars. Maybe he saw the first race and decided he wanted to be part of that action. And I can't blame him, really, because I would absolutely love to be out there doing this with them now as well. It's a good circuit as well. I do like the Vallelunga. Well, I do like all layouts of the Vallelunga circuit. This is, I think, the 3rd event that I've commentated here, and it always seems to provide some action. You were telling me earlier that this is one of your favourite circuits as well, so it's definitely a driver's circuit, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, definitely. And I was saying to Josh before the broadcast started, first time I drove this track was back on Toka Race Driver 2, and if anyone knows how old that game is, God, you know how old I am roughly, but it's very, very good old game. One that I think I started that circuit in Formula Ford actually, so something with a bit less power than these, and now coming up to these and giving it a drive today, it felt like I was in an F1 car. But no, very much a driver's circuit, and very much one that flows really nicely, and can provide a lot of action in pretty much any car actually, because it's, as much as it seems very fast and flowing, a lot of the corners where you will make up time are actually all the traction zones. So if you can, if you're good in a traction zone, or if you're really good at managing the brakes and the throttle and everything else, you can be really, really quick here. So it'd be really interesting to see how things go come come qualifying, come race 2, and maybe in some other series that maybe use the Vallelunga circuit in the future.
Yeah, certainly. Just noticed actually, we appear to have lost Davide Dallara, so hopefully he can make it in for this qualifying session, especially seeing as he proved himself to be the quickest driver in the first qualifying session. So it would be a shame if he didn't make it in, but I'm sure we'll be seeing him in a little while if he can make it back. But yeah, definitely an interesting circuit. Very good car. Very good series. Of course, this is Griiip with collaboration from World Pro Racing today. World Pro Racing running the event in collaboration with Griiip. Meanwhile, the qualifying session has started. Still no Davide Dallara. He doesn't appear to be in the server, so hopefully he can make it in here. I'm not entirely
he
sure.
announced in the chats that we have that he was having some issues.
Ah.
Otherwise, the lag and steering wheel input delay. So maybe he's decided to play it safe and not race in the second round for safety of everyone else. Or maybe if he does come back, he might just hang it at the back and just try and score some points. Because as Josh said earlier, these points do count towards the official championship. So if you miss out on points here, God knows what it could do to your championship.
Well, it's a big shame there for Davide Dallara, our quickest driver from the first qualifying session. So it's a shame that he's not here. Maybe Griiip can come out and give us a good show, but it seems that he may be keeping the car in the pits as well. Oh well, still 4 cars here today, and we've seen how close and exciting the racing was anyway, even with a small number of cars. So. A 4-car qualifying session for us at the minute, and the first driver to go onto a lap, I believe, will be Yaron Stern. So our second quickest driver from the first qualifying session is now in a good position to capitalise. However, he did just mess up the start of his lap there with a slight twitch out of the final corner. We'll see what he can do nonetheless. This is the first flying lap from anyone, as you see him heading around turn 2. This is the flat out Curva Grande. Not to be confused with the Curva Grande at Monza, which is also flat out. Here's Chimney. That's the first proper braking zone of the track, and you get Chimney 1 and Chimney 2, the 2 different apexes there, before going through the unnamed sweepers in the middle sector, and then Semaforo is the right-hand hairpin, again comparable to Silverstone's Luffield. You enter it a bit quicker, but the exit's the same in the way that it's always difficult to get on the throttle just the right amount. There's Torrentino running it slightly over the exit curb there with Yaron Stern, and now through the S's, simply just known as the S's. Whoa, going a bit wide over the grass, and that's going to have messed up that lap. So I believe Stern will be backing off here and just setting up for this next lap. Well, no point backing off that late in the lap. Through Roma and on to the back straight. The first lap is a 1:12.607. Definitely room for improvement there. It was a terrible third sector, but we've seen what Yaron Stern is capable of, so I'm sure he's going to be going quicker later on in the session. Up to first place at the minute goes Miguel Matos with a 1:11.845. So first place is Matos. Santos goes second, 1:11.940. Paganini now goes first, 1:11.198. That's over 0.6 of a second ahead of Miguel Matos there. So Paganini on pole by a long way at the minute, but Stern already setting fastest sectors. He's fastest in the first sector, and he's gaining in the second. So Stern is back on it, and if he can just get this third sector right, he will be on to show us the lap that he couldn't quite show us the first time around. This is the corner where he got it wrong the last time, and he makes it stick, as Miguel Matos, incidentally, sets the fastest second sector time of anyone. So maybe we're going to have a pole battle on here between Matos and Stern.
Yeah, definitely. Just taking a look at how these guys, just driving around the circuit, very much similar driving styles between all these guys. This is what providing some really close driving. As Yaron Stern, 1:11.1, so does take the pole by 0.08 of a second.
Ooh, less than that, in fact.
Oh, sorry, no, well, Matos has gone pole.
Yeah.
By 100, sorry.
Yeah, Matos, rounded up to 200, has gone first place with a 1:11.095, ahead of Stern by just 0.019 of a second. And Stern is second. Third is Paganini, so the top 3 are now separated by less than 1/10 of a second, less than 0.08 of a second separate the top 3 there. Utterly fantastic, close qualifying time. Santos is lagging a little bit behind, but let's face it, that didn't exactly affect him in race 1. So I'm sure we'll see Santos coming into play in the actual races. Stern there was going quicker in the first and second sectors, and he's still on a good lap, but he did slightly mess up the S's there. However, he's still going up on his lap. This is going to be very close for pole position. Does Stern take it here? This is going to be almost identical to the pole lap. Oh my word! He improves his lap by 6,000, but doesn't go quicker than Matos. It's still just 0.013. I told you it would be exactly the same as the fastest lap we've seen. It pretty much is, as nearest makes no difference. They've set exactly the same lap there, a 1:11.1. Goodness me. And now Stern needs to set about going for another attempt. He's slightly slower than he should be through the first sector there. But how close do you want this?
Yeah, definitely. And Davide Delara was in the server briefly, and he's apparently having connection issues to the server, so hopefully he can get them sorted pre-race. But as you said, 13 thousandths of a second, and with Paganini only 700ths behind, so obviously Santos having to play, you know, catch up here, but I don't think that's going to be too big a problem as he's actually coming through the middle sector.
Well, he is actually catching up now. He's, well, oops.
Locked up.
He did that a couple of times in race 1, actually. He needs to get that semaphore hairpin sorted, because he does tend to take a bit of an odd line in and just kind of straight lines it. But he was improving his lap at that point. Oh, Stern gets it. Stern there. Yaron Stern, 1:10.884. The first driver in the 1:10s in this session. And now he pulls the lead gap out to 0.212 ahead of Miguel Matos. So that is the Yaron Stern that we saw in qualifying 1. And he's got it again. Can anyone match that? It's looking unlikely, but in fact, he's already going quicker now, getting a toe there from, that was Paganini there, possibly accidentally helping out his rival Stern there on the back straight. But Stern still pushing it here. Oh, slight twitch in Semaphore. Still about a tenth up on his lap according to the Delta time. Here's Torrentino, wide entry to maximise use of the track. And to get a good exit full of momentum. Here are the S's, slightly down in the second sector, and that's a big slide. He's going off there and into the barrier. So that's that lap done, and he pits the car quite understandably so. Oh, the big improvement was about to come in from Michael Santos, but he messed up the second sector there and ran wide over the grass. Just trying to shake the grass off his tyres now as he sets up for another flying lap.
Yeah, Miguel Matos couldn't improve either. He was very close to improving, but had to wait for the guys in front of him, you know, Paganini and for Stern to have their accidents and have their moments before he could get through, and that cost him ultimately in that second sector. He's on another lap in the middle sector at the moment, coming through the S's. Trying to go up on his time. Seems to be able to take the Semaphore hairpin really nicely and just get on the power really smoothly and not lose any time.
Paganini sets the fastest second sector time of anyone. He's on for pole with his current lap here. So Paganini charging through the S's and taking chunks out of his previous lap. This is a great lap so far. Also a good one coming in from Santos so far. But let's see what Paganini can do. He's lost a little bit of time on the exit of the S's. This still looks like it's going to be on for second place as he crosses the line. It's going to be close. Oh, he doesn't quite get it there. Very, very close to second. But just misses out. It's a 1:11.109.
Santos was a bit squirrely coming through the S's as well, so I don't think his lap's going to be improving much.
Santos keeps improving his first sector by about 4 tenths, and then second sector. That's a bit of a shame.
Stern has gone quicker apparently, setting another personal best, unless I'm a bit behind.
No, I'm afraid you must be a bit behind because he's just finished an outlap, in fact. So yeah, he's going on to a quick lap now, and that was a fairly good first sector, not quite his best. I'm watching Miguel Santos though, because in fact both Santos and Paganini are on flyers, and so is Yaron Stern. We got 3 for pole at the minute as Paganini sets the fastest second sector time again. So Matos is going to set his lap first of the 3, and this might be his last attempt. I don't know if he's going to cross the line before the check, and I think he might just make it.
He'll have one more lap. He's got plenty of time. About 10 seconds when he goes across the line.
But watch this. This is going to be close for pole as he crosses the start-finish line. Very close. 400s. And Paganini takes pole. Paganini takes pole. So Matos crossed it and set a 1:10.924. And then Paganini, as the session gets the checkered flag, goes across the line with a 1:10.820. Stern could not improve. Paganini is on pole unless Matos can go quicker on this next lap. But he's a 10th down in the first sector, so this isn't looking good. Paganini has suddenly pulled something out of the bag there. A 1:10.820 and the fastest second sector time of anyone as well. Brilliant lap from Massimo Paganini. Now, what can Nicola Matos do on this lap? It's not looking great. He's about a 10th down at the minute. He needs to really pull something out in the final sector of this course. Oh, but he's kicked out the rear end, so that's going to be that. And that means that Massimo Paganini is on pole position, followed by Jeroen Stern, Nicola Matos, and Michael Santos, the 4 drivers we have here at the minute. Unfortunately, only 4 as we've lost Davide Delara to connection issues. And that's going to be the grid for the second race here. Very, very tense session right the way to the end, and the top 3 drivers separated by as near as makes no difference, a 10th of a second.
Yeah, nearest, as you said, nearest makes no difference, because lap 1 will most certainly change that order up very much, I feel.
So we're going for a short commercial break, and we'll be back with you shortly.
Gigabit Internet issa f'Malta. Gawdi mill-Giga Power biss mal-Melita Flexi.
This car is fast, reactive, and easy to find the limit.
The car is really fantastic and really fast.
Very, very fast car compared also to the other single-seater.
Between the Formula series, that's the best one. It's amazing how many torques you can have with a solid engine.
A lot of fun, and I enjoy a lot this day.
I think it's a car that you need to try, because I'm so happy for this day with your car. Fantastic.
And welcome back to this second race now of this virtual Griiip G1 series race. Actually, it's the real drivers from the Griiip G1 series that's held in Italy. Here driving today on this Valle Lunga circuit on Assetto Corsa, together with us Joshua Penny and Alex Andre.
Yes, welcome back everyone. We've got less than a minute to go until the start of the second race of the day. Race 1 was highly unpredictable, so the order I'm about to read to you might well not be the, well, it's probably not going to be the finishing order here today, but it's Massimo Paganini starting on pole position after a brilliant lap that came out of nowhere ahead of Yaron Stern, Miguel Matos and Michael Santos. We have 4 drivers here today who are about to thrash their cars around the Vallelunga circuit in Italy for 10 minutes here, and it's going to be a very exciting race if race 1 is anything to go by. Just 20 seconds to go now. You're going to see a lighting sequence of 6 lights illuminating in front of you, and then when those lights go off, we will be underway for the start of the race. Here come the lights. Let's watch them illuminate, and when they extinguish, we will be underway for race 2 here today. Now we're underway and off we go. Massimo Paganini leads away, but he does. In fact, he gets a really bad start. And Matos and Stern are both coming through. So Stern leads the race at the minute. Matos is coming through on the outside. Watch Santos behind them as well. Don't count him out. And now gets a good run. Paganini gets a really good run on the inside. They're going to be 4 for 1 into turn 1 here, or into the first braking zone. Do they all make it through safely? I believe they do. And what order are they in? It's going to be Yaron Stern leading the race from Matos, Paganini and Santos after that corner. So Stern did pass Paganini, but look behind as Matos now passes Paganini. So Matos up into second position at this stage in the race, gets it a bit sideways. That was all a bit hairy there down towards Semaforo. Now here comes Paganini again on the outside of Matos. Not quite managing to find a way through. So those are the first couple of corners done. Somehow they've all made it through safely, and we haven't seen the instance that we saw in the first race. But 9 minutes to go in this race now, and we're about to see some slipstreaming coming into play here as we exit on a little twitch there from our leader Yaron Stern. And after the first lap, the order updates itself. Stern, Matos, Paganini, Santos. Who can slipstream who down into chimney 1 here? I don't think anyone's going to be quite close enough, but it's all about lining yourself up and sticking with the car ahead of you through the twisty parts, so you can attack on the next straight. Alex, better start this time than last time, let's say.
Yeah, definitely a very, very much better start than the last time that we saw. But definitely everyone getting through okay. The only real problem was Santos, who ended up on the grass coming into Chimney 1. He managed to get himself sorted and didn't clatter anyone when rejoining. So very lucky for him to still be 4th place, still on the back as Paganini, very much on the back of Miguel Matos at the moment. So Stern is just controlling the pace, just keeping his eyes forward and making sure he doesn't get involved in any mistakes, and that's all he needs to do. Paganini and Matos are trying to close up to him, but whilst fighting each other, so I wouldn't be surprised if Miguel Matos is mirror driving slightly, but you know, that's sort of what you do in the defending situation.
Well, it's what you're not really supposed to do. You have to concentrate on the road ahead of you and then take quick glances to make sure that the car behind isn't diving through or going for an unexpected move. But talking of diving through, watch this. Oh, very close. That was Paganini taking a look at Miguel Matos. I was wondering whether he was going to go for a dive bomb, but decided that discretion was the better part of valour there, and backed out of it. But he's going to have other opportunities if he just sticks with his rival through the twistier part of the circuit here. Then our pole steer can have another opportunity next time he gets the slipstream. Of course, Paganini starts on pole. He's already dropped down into 3rd position. That's a bit of an odd line there from Matos, who runs a little bit wide on the exit. Paganini not quite able to... Paganini, big slide, gets it over the inside curve. And I think the curve may have saved him from a spin there by bouncing the front end back round again. That was a very hairy situation, and he's dropped back a little bit. So a little bit of catching up work now to do for Massimo Paganini. But he'll just be relieved that he didn't spin his hopes away there.
Yeah, definitely. Very much thankful and thanking every single god in racing that he didn't have any problems coming through the S's there, or coming through the S, mainly because that curb is very, very much a killer. In practice earlier, I managed to have that and then end up flying onto the other side of the circuit. So anything is possible coming through that that little S section. But all these guys now very much separated. A few tenths separates all of them, just outside of major slipstream range. So Stern is just able to pull away. 1.1 seconds the gap between him and Matos at the moment, but Matos now most definitely focused on the rear end of Stern. Stern coming through the final of the tight hairpins, gets on the power nicely, and I think Matos might be closing up this lap. I think he's closed up a small bit.
You know, I was about to say that actually, and I'm a little bit surprised by that, seeing as Stern was obviously quicker in qualifying, but Matos has got it now, and I think is catching. So as they cross the line this time around, the gap came down by a tenth or two on that lap there, and it also came down between Matos and Paganini. So the top three are closing up here, and we do have a three-way chain for the lead of the race. Maybe not quite in swapping range just yet, but it's certainly close. As Stern there takes a little bit of a wide line through Chimney and runs off the white line on two separate occasions round there. And maybe just keeping it a little bit tighter there works for Miguel Matos.
Well, Miguel Matos, 1:11.3, I believe the current his current best lap's doing a really great job for him. Oh, was Paganini spun? Paganini spun it!
Oh, he did. He's in the gravel. Goodness me. Yeah, Paganini's made a mistake. Clips the barrier, tries to rejoin the circuit. Now, we didn't quite see what happened there, or I didn't anyway. But yeah, Paganini appears to have made a mistake. That's put Michael Santos rather up into third position. And Paganini has a lot of work to do if he's going to get back on the podium. The pole sitter again drops to last place.
Yeah, and I didn't see what happened. All I heard was the sound of an engine revving, trying to spin the car around, and just suddenly seeing Michael Santos in the second place. So, sorry, in third place. Right. So Paganini, a lot of work to do once again.
Now I've had a look on the stream to see if I saw what happened. You can't quite, because it came into view while it was already sideways. Although I must say, Michael Santos there had a bit of a scary moment, and it was good driving from both of them not to come together. If Paganini had kept on the throttle, they would have done, and it looked as if he was going to, but no, backed out of it nicely. Santos backed off as well, and everything was fine. So good avoidance, and Santos takes third place. Matos, however, took another 2 tenths out of Stern on the last lap and is again closer. So Matos still closing. It's going to be close though as to whether he can get past him or not before the end of the race, because catching is one thing and passing is another, and passing definitely harder than catching.
3 laps to go as well. So if he's going to do a move, he's got to do it quickly. Hasn't got a lot of time left at all in this race.
Down the start-finish straight, he'll be getting a little here. The gap did actually come out slightly on that lap. That's probably because it's a little bit difficult to follow the car ahead of you when you're in a single-seater with slicks and wings. But he makes it. Well, he's still sticking with Yaron Stern, more or less. 8 tenths of a second, almost 9 tenths is the gap, and that's definitely slipstreaming range. So Stern needs to be careful. He needs to keep his wits about him, because if he makes a properly big mistake, Matos is going to go through.
Well, no questions asked. You say big mistake, and Stern really got loose coming out of there, as Matos just did as well. And just watching, once again, as I did last race, watching their driving styles, it definitely seems like Stern puts in a bit more steering lock. So maybe he's wearing his tyres a bit more, maybe he's wearing the fronts, you know, just scrubbing the fronts, not getting as much grip as he goes wider through the final corner compared to Matos. It'll be very interesting to see who has a higher top speed coming into Chimney 1. The gap, once again, is going to be extremely, it's going to come down by a 10th, I believe. No, sorry, it's going to go up by a 10th. I take that back. But
yeah, still close though. Let's definitely not count anyone out. We're on the lap of the race at the minute. And the battle we're all watching is between Stern and Matos. I'm afraid Santos has dropped off the rear a bit, and Paganini has dropped even further back after his spin. So we just have a two-car battle here. It's been a much cleaner race than race one, probably because we've had fewer cars on the grid and because they've had a bit of time to work out what they're doing. A little bit of a lock-up there from Yaron Stern, but that's okay. The timer is going to tick to 0 in less than a minute, meaning we're going to get one more lap in this race. And Matos needs to get a decent slipstream on Yaron Stern if he's going to have a chance of winning this race. Oh, but that's not going to help. That was a big slide coming out of the S's. And as you said in race 1, that might well be game over there. Because I don't think he's going to be really close enough to Stern here to get a decent effective. Oh wow, actually I think Stern may have made an even bigger mistake somewhere, because the gap is now at 0.6 of a second. It's still not really close enough for an overtake unless Stern makes a mistake, but it's definitely going to be a close finish as through the chimneys we go. I've noticed that Stern... Oh, big slide from Matos, and that really is over. So Matos there kicked out the rear end and had to back off to avoid spinning the car, which would have been an utter disaster for him. And, well, it didn't look like he was going to win the race anyway, and now he definitely won't. So that means that so long as Yaron Stern keeps it together for the remaining sector of the race, he's going to take a race 2 victory here, and I suppose you could say an overall victory from the event. I don't think it works like that, but I think he's certainly going to have scored the most points of anyone today with a double podium. And through the final corner he goes now. Yaron Stern is going to claim our race 2 victory here. Yaron Stern, who also, I believe, set the fastest lap, crosses the finish line and wins the race. The gap in the end was 1.424 seconds after Matos' little mistake on the final lap there. Stern is first, Matos is second, Santos finishes third, our race 1 winner, and then fourth from the front of the grid is going to be Massimo Paganini, who will be very annoyed and very frustrated about what has just happened to him. Well, that's the lot, everyone, and that is it from the racing action today. Yeah, much cleaner race than race 1, but still quite exciting, still quite tense until the end. What did you think of it, Alex?
Yeah, it was definitely a good couple of races, and definitely the second race being a lot cleaner and a lot more a case of just getting to the end, being a lot more consistent, and sort of as Santos found out, not getting caught up in other people's accidents, but very much a lot cleaner, a lot more entertaining, and definitely one that I think has proven that real race drivers can still have it all and have a lot of fun in sim racing.
So we can confirm that obviously the final result of race 2 is not provisional, but the final result will be now after this broadcast reviewing the race 1 for applying various penalties, which I'm sure there will be, and the official results will be published very shortly. So I would like to thank you, Alex and Joshua, for being with us. Who's following us, please follow Word Pro Racing, because we very soon will be definitely launching also our Griiip G1 virtual series, which will be definitely an exciting series with these cars. Also, for those that would like to watch and see more and understand more about this Griiip G1 series, they can visit the website on www.griiip, which is griiip.com, and see their about their experiences and also about the 2019 championship. So thanks, Joshua, thanks, Alex, for being with us. Follow Word Pro Racing, and we'll see you soon.
Gigabit Internet issa f'Malta. Gawdi mill-Giga Power, biss mal-Melita Flexi.
This car is fast, reactive, and easy to find the limit.
The car is really fantastic and really fast.
Very, very fast car compared also to the other single-seater.
Between the Formula series, that's the best one. It's amazing how many torques you can have with a solid engine.
A lot of fun, and I enjoy a lot this day.
I think it's a car that you need to try because I'm so happy for this day with your car. Fantastic.